Good morning and welcome to my garden. Welcome to my December walk through my garden. We have had a very wet spring. In the last 6 weeks we have received 500 mils of rain, and so everything is very wet. The seedlings have rotted in the ground and established plants have grown very happily. In previous garden walkthroughs I've called this the South Garden. Well, it actually turns out that that is east and that is south. So henceforth I shall be talking about the East Garden or the North Garden. Sorry to confuse everyone. So this is my East Wedge garden. The calendula came back beautifully after being pruned down, and they've got a new flush of flowers. So I might try to keep this lot pruned. I've collected some seeds, so I don't need to collect any more. I'm loving the flowers of this society garlic. Interesting to note that this carrot flowered beautifully and then died when the rain hit. Well, this carrot hasn't died in spite of all the rain. So I might get another flush of seeds from that, which is lovely. I find it difficult to spread carrot seeds, but when you spread them directly from a carrot head that has seeded, it's really quite easy to do. I just cut the heads off and hit the heads together, and the seeds were dispersed beautifully. These shallots I left in the ground because they were too small to pick as far as I was concerned. The rain may be rotting some. I see these red shallots are suffering, but these red shallots are doing okay. These were the clumping onions and they're looking much healthier. And I've got some calendula reseeding itself, so that's really lovely. So contour 1 on the east. I've been picking a lot of red chilies from here. I'm going to make some chili oil this time. Capsicums, which I transplanted, are doing well. Yacon. Basil I chopped down and it's come back. Some other chilies. Would you believe I pruned this arrowroot just 2 weeks ago? And it's already waist high. I've also pruned my chop and drop row for the first time. I pruned it down to knee high and it's coming back beautifully. So far the nectarines and the apricots are surviving the rain well, and I've given them a little bit of pruning to help shape them. My first pineapple's growing and I'm excited about that. This bed has gone through a little bit of change. I have measured the path. It now has a border. I've got some very strong growth on my asparagus. I had planted some rhubarb here. This one has survived, but these ones have rotted with all the rain that we've had this month and last month. This is still doing okay, but I'm not sure that it's going to last. Whereas these ones that were planted earlier look okay. Their leaves look like they're suffering a bit. So one of the biggest changes in this bed is my lovely new grapevine trellis. I have planted 6 seed-grown grapevines along here. I've learnt that you shouldn't wrap grapevines around the vine. The vine can be crushed by its wrapping itself around. So I'm encouraging this to hang on with its leaves but not be wrapped around. So we'll see how that goes. I'm happy to see some more runners down here. I'm going to have to encourage it to grow along that one. I didn't quite know how far apart to plant them. When I looked up the advice, it suggested that grapevines should be planted anywhere from 1.2 metres apart to 8 metres apart, depending on the variety. Well, seeing I'd grown them from seed, I had no way of knowing what variety they were. So I chose to put a central picket in the middle of this curved bed and then divide that up evenly, and I found I had 6 plants and I could plant them every 3 metres and fit all 6 in. So that's what I've done. Unfortunately, my banana trees had to come down. They were always going to be in danger here because of the winds that we get in this area. I chopped the big ones down and used them for mulch. That one's rolled off. I should have split it so it didn't roll off. I'm intending to move the pups to another location, and once I've got the pups I need, I may leave the tree there to keep producing chop and drop. but I can't have it falling on my trellis and breaking. And here's another grapevine, that'll be number 3. I have 2 different styles of leaves for my grapevines. There's that one that's deeply lobed, and I don't know the name of the edges, serrated edges. Whereas this one's much more heart-shaped, no deep lobes at all. So I'm hoping that means I have at least 2 different varieties. Cucamelon, never grown them before, so that's an experiment I'm excited to test out. My windbreak row is starting to get some height to it, parts of it are looking very happy. I have planted down here some mangoes and some custard apple. So I just planted this custard apple yesterday, it's looking a bit sad. This mango's got a lot of new growth on it, so it's doing all right. And I think this rollinia is not liking all the wet weather. Its leaf looks like it's going to fall. Mind you, there is some new leaf here, so maybe that's just suffering from the move. The stem doesn't feel good, and that branch is dying. Here we go. This looks like a healthy knot. That one's dying too. So while some things have benefited from being planted in the wet weather, the rollinia has not. I've used these jacarandas here as chop and drop, and that's been a great way to put mulch around the plants in the first instance. I think I'll end up filling up the gaps between these plants, because with the gaps it makes it a difficult task to keep mowed. But if the gaps were all filled in, that would make that job a lot easier. And down here, I've planted a hedgerow. I grew from seed mulberry, apple, citrus, and feijoa. I don't know what varieties they are. Most of these mulberries are not dwarf, some of them will be. But this hedgerow will become a habitat for wild animals. It will also hopefully give me the opportunity to experiment with hedge laying, because I'd like to see if I can use this as part of a fence for my paddock division down here when I have animals down here. But in the meantime, I'm going to play with a hedge. So it's been very exciting to see the plants go from seed to seedling in a pot to now being planted in the garden. I'm quite chuffed about all that. And it's extending my garden beyond just the gardening area. And I'm very excited to show you my new addition to the garden. I have always wanted an arbor right here. And so it's all in. I intended to put a second arbor across here as well, but that would have required pickets to be put here, and I was concerned it would undermine this wall here. Eventually we will have retainer wall and we'll have a stepped garden here. But for now I just got to make sure I don't do too much to cause it problems. So I have it planted up and my first plants are growing. We've got some purple king beans, and this is a rockmelon. I think this one is a cucamelon. I planted something else here, but it's not ready to come up yet. My pond has been a lovely ephemeral waterhole for the frogs. We've had a lot of tadpoles in here. I'm wondering if a lot of them got washed out with the rains that we've had, because this has filled and overflowed a couple of times in the last month. Contour 1, the middle garden. I've chopped and dropped that arrowroot and vetiver grass at knee height, and it's come back so quickly with all this rain. Shallots, pak choi. Once again, I hadn't covered it. Once again, I'm suffering the consequences. Contour 1 on the north. Most of the vegetables have been harvested now, just some leek left, and they can grow between the chop and drop plants, and some of them are looking quite big. This is actually where I'm up to in cleaning up my garden. So I will be cleaning that up over the coming days. And this arrowroot is tall as me, so it'll be ready for a chop down and a spread as a chop and drop too. I grew potatoes along here last season, and a lot of the potatoes are coming back, which is all right, I guess. I haven't had much success having other seeds grow before the rains hit. This was so dry and so hot here. I tried covering it with shade cloth. I was watering it by hand. I had the dripper system set up so if everything started to grow, I could water it with the dripper system. But I've had real poor germination rates on this garden. Been quite disappointing. My bean plant still producing. Contour 2 on the north. This bed has been rather neglected. The chop and drop row has just been growing, doing its thing. Occasionally I'll chop the top off a pigeon pea plant that's got too many seeds there, and I don't really want pigeon pea everywhere. But the chop and drop plants continue to grow and they're getting larger. I have some yacon in as well. This side has finished with its winter vegetables, and my intention was to put some thick layer of mushroom compost, horse manure, sugarcane mulch along here, just to keep the weeds down and just to keep it healthy while I don't have the time to plant here. A lot of my time has been taken up constructing new chook pens, as we've had one lot of chicks hatched and we've got another lot about to hatch soon. My blueberry pots moved down here, and I had to shade them on the eastern side because the sun was heating up the pots quite a lot. I've created a new pathway here for access, and I've encouraged the garden bed to fill up over here. I did plant cover crop, but it looks like the grass has outcompeted the cover crop seeds this season, which it didn't last season, so that's interesting. It's probably because last season was very dry. I've been using soil from that pile to extend the garden bed. Some of it went along here, some of it went along here. The pardalotes have been nesting in that for some months, but I think they've moved on now, so I can keep using it. So I've planted some chop and drop plants along here. A lot of them are shorter ones, so I will have to replant some larger ones. My fig plants, it's got little baby figs on it. I've got a watermelon vine here, which has produced for me 2 good-sized watermelons, which have got to about this size and cracked and gone rotten. So they go to the chooks. And I'm disappointed I haven't had one yet, but I have a few little ones forming now. What's that? That's nothing. I have a few little ones forming, so maybe one of these days I'll actually get watermelon off this plant. Cucumber vine has been producing well, but every time we have a couple of days of rain, all the fruit splits and the fruit fly come along. So I've been picking them about that long, which is a bit disappointing because some of them were getting about 3 times that length and they were beautiful, but then the fruit fly would get them and they'd split because of the rain. So I've been picking them regularly. My first fruit on my pomegranate, I actually think these are going to ripen into edible fruit, so that'll be exciting. I had corn here last season and it's finished. I've tried to plant okra, but this is the only one that's come up. I also planted a lot of other brassicas here. I'm not having a lot of success with striking seeds directly this year, so, oh, look at this. Having said that, there you go, there's some red cabbage. And that looks like it could be the silver beet I planted. Volunteer tomatoes. I don't want tomatoes here. Oh, yes. Okay. So some of them are coming up. That's great to see. Red cabbage. There was some okra here. Hasn't come up. That's the kohlrabi. So some of them are coming up. Maybe they just needed more regular water. And there's another one. Oh, good. I'm happy. I've decided this jacaranda could be useful as a trellis, and I've planted some passion fruit here. I'll have to thin those out, but it will grow up and into that jacaranda. Jacarandas are actually a legume, and I have a friend who told me that the best passion fruit she ever had grew at the base of a legume, so I'm interested to see how this passion fruit vine will go. I'm wondering if it'll create too much shade for my veggie garden, but that'll be easy to fix by just lopping off the ends of the branches and constraining the size of it. My zucchini melted in the rain, so I've learned I can't plant it when it's rainy. I have to plant it earlier in the season before the rain starts. The squash, however, kept going. It hasn't produced any edible fruit. They've all rotted. I've got some sweet potato here. In order to keep it tidy and in order to keep the production going into the tubers for us to eat, I've been pruning off the side of the plant to keep it on the garden properly. This was yesterday morning's work when I was pruning this sweet potato, but heavy rain chased me inside and I didn't get it finished. So these are different varieties of sweet potato. This has a purple stem. I believe it's a white flesh with a purple splash. And that one I believe is the orange one. I didn't write them down immediately and I don't remember. This sweet potato is different again. I think this one is all white. So we'll see how that goes. It doesn't spread nearly as much as the others. Plus it was planted. That was planted first, and then a month later this was planted, then a month later this was planted. So that may have something to do with it. I read that corn can be a good companion with sweet potato, so I planted them at the same time. It seems to me that a lot of the corn was smothered out by the sweet potato, so I will not get good germination rates on the corn because they're too far apart. They can't fertilise each other. So you can see here my pile of soil is actually really in the road. I did have a walkway through here, but the weeds have grown up and over it, so I can't do that anymore. But that's my garden, and thank you for coming for a walk through with me. I hope you're having some garden success and it's not all being washed away at this rainy season. Happy gardening.